Welcome to the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. I'm thrilled you're here. My name is Jason Elkins, and in addition to being your host, I'm also a former U.S. Army paratrooper, third-generation commercial hot air balloon pilot, paramotor pilot, ex-Montana fly fishing guide, advanced open water scuba diver, and a full-time nomad that's visited more than 30 countries on 6 continents. As a seasoned adventure travel expert with a passion for creating and sharing meaningful experiences, I'm on a quest to impact the lives of adventure travelers, tour operators they rely on, and the communities that host them. Every week, I bring you exclusive interviews with fascinating adventure tourism experts who have agreed to share their personal stories, favorite destinations, and some invaluable travel insights they've picked up along the way. We'll enjoy a casual conversation, create some connections, and likely share some laughs. It's my hope that by the end of each episode, this big world will feel just a bit smaller. Let's get started, shall we? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. Very excited today. I had an opportunity to speak with my next guest a few weeks ago and was just super excited about her energy and what she's doing in the world. So asked her to come back on. Today we've got Siham Lamine. She is the owner and cultural curator at Morocco Travel Organizer. Siham, nice to see you again. Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Jason. Nice to see you again, too. I'm glad to be on the show.
Yeah, this is going to be so much fun. I'm kind of a foodie. I think last time we spoke, I was telling you that at one point in my life, I've never been to Morocco, but I had 3 tagines in the house and a couple of Moroccan cookbooks, and I was really into Moroccan food. Still really enjoy Moroccan food. So I know we're going to discuss that a bit. And before we do that, one of the things you'd mentioned, I had you fill out a form and you put something on there. You said it's Morocco's first local woman-owned culinary and luxury heritage tours. That's a mouthful. Can you help me unpack that? We'll call it a little elevator pitch. Help our listeners understand what it is you do. And then we're going to dig into your history and background to figure out why it is you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there is a missing angle in the tourism industry for women taking off and doing something on their own, especially in the tourism industry. It's still mostly, dominated by men. And when we're speaking about culinary, that's also a different concept in Morocco. I'm not going to say it's a different concept yet because I've been working on it for more than 10 years. However, there isn't a lot of competition in this specific industry. So I've tried to specialize into what I love, which is food, and also organize luxury heritage tours at the same time, balancing between culinary experiences and luxury heritage tours, all in Morocco and from a women's point of view at the same time. So this is what I'm trying to do.
I love it. A couple questions came out of that.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned that I think I'll just share what I heard is that the tourism industry, kind of this space, is predominantly, dominated by men, is what I heard you say.
Yeah.
When you said that, were you specifically talking about Morocco in general, or was it more specific to Morocco?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say from my experience, maybe it's Africa in general, because I am on LinkedIn, on other platforms, and I am on other communities with women-owned businesses all around the world. The challenges that they have is nothing compared to the challenges that we have. There are so many women-owned businesses abroad. However, there are few in Africa in general. And I am based in North Africa. That's where Morocco is based, which is literally Fate in Spain, Europe.
All right. So how much do you want to dig into that with me? Because I guess the next question I ask you, why is that? What is that culturally about Morocco or Africa that creates those challenges? Should we go there?
Actually, our king has been great. That's the first thing. His way of changing Morocco is that he gives rights to the women. And this is a couple of years ago and into our institution. So the women can lead and take over. There are many programs that encourage women in other crafts and other careers to just take over, be leaders, be present, and don't be scared. just in terms of tourism, like it's not like the king is not supporting it, it's fully supporting it. However, women are still afraid to take this step onwards and then do something like creative. I know that there are right now other women who are specializing in other things, but we are only few. We might be 3 or 4 women in the country, all of it that I am aware of, and each one is doing something different. So right now my specialty is culinary because this is what I've been doing for 10 years or 12 years even since 2013. And I've been doing it to another company. And like later on, I just decided I need to start something on my own that is going to be local, own, one woman, which is me, basically. Then like really lead this like with more passion and showing travelers our culture through food. This is the main goal from the whole business.
Okay. What I got out of what you just said was that legally, the government, the systems are in place that women can do this. There's nothing stopping them. But maybe what I heard is culturally or historically, things have gotten in the way of women making the choice to do that. And maybe some of that stuff still lingers, but then there's a few people like yourself that say, screw it, I can do it. There's nothing stopping me. And I'm just gonna do it. Is that right? Am I hearing you correctly?
You actually like got it perfectly. So in terms of what is culturally common is that the man is the one like who's providing to the like he is the one who is providing in general. However, things have changed in Morocco massively. Like women start to work, women are going to university, sometimes even more than men right now. So there are many changes that are going on in Morocco. It's just the tourism industry that it's still lacking. This is the only thing because when people are thinking about tourism, they're thinking about it is being a business that it's not stable. I mean, anything could happen. And the first like job or the first industry that gets like damaged is tourism. That's the first thing. So it's a really sensible like project to start with as a woman. Like with men, they can do whichever. Like even though something will happen with tourism, then they can do and like they can go and do hard work, hard labor, things like that. While for a woman, like she's viewed the most as being a teacher, being at like a more stable job that provides for her more than tourism. I mean, tourism as a word in my home was never, or in my family in general. And believe me, I'm coming from a big family when I'm saying that. So like tourism as a word is not even common in my family. Like nobody has ever anticipated for me to take this step and be in this industry. However, like by time people start to get used to it and just accept it. That's all.
Here I am. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
You know what? What a great opportunity to go further into your past and have that discussion. So you said big family. Boy, there's so many things to unpack here. You said big family. Trust me, I got a big family. All right.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, sure. So like my family is coming like from I would say like I have almost 22 uncles and aunties in
Okay.
total. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And like I have so many cousins, obviously. So like my family is all over the country and even abroad. Some are living in the USA, some are living in Italy, some in France. I think Asia is the only place that we haven't been there yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna use the word yet. In Morocco. Well, I would say like we are in the countryside. My family are what else? In the countryside in Curator, which is a city close to Rabat. Uh, I only live with my parents and that's all. So we don't have any family relatives here. Whenever there is a big ceremony or celebration, we need to travel to celebrate with our family. But most
Okay.
of my family are located like close to Rabat. This is where they are.
So did I hear you correctly? You don't have siblings, but you've got a ton of cousins and aunts and uncles. But as far as siblings, it's just you with your parents. Is that right?
I have one brother who doesn't even live here. He's living now in Germany and
Okay.
following his like master degree over there.
All right. But did you grow up? You said Fez. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is that where you
that's
live?
where I grew up with my
So you
parents and my brother.
so you grew up in Fez. So it doesn't sound like you had a lot of family in Fez. So it wasn't like when you were growing up. I Let me back up.
I
Yeah,
remember when I was young, grew up kind of in a small town. And quite often when I left the house to go do something, I was reminded, hey, this is a small town. You've got a big family. Behave yourself because whatever you do, we're going to hear
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
So I'm curious, was it like that for you growing up?
Yeah, well, I mean, here, this is what it's different. Or maybe it's the same, not even different, Jason. The community is your family. So,
Right.
like, even though I don't have my cousins here or my relatives, I need to behave in front of my community. Otherwise, gossip will spread off, and that's not going to work well for me.
And I don't know, but I suspect there may be some cultural differences between you and I and where I grew up and where you grew up, and maybe the sense of community,
Yeah,
in Morocco and other places around the world is a little bit more like everybody's kind of watching. You have expectations and standards that you live up to, where maybe some communities in the US, if they're not family related to you, they kind of don't care what you do. I mean, they might criticize you, might judge you, but nobody's going to step in and really, try and steer you onto the right path. They're probably just going to sit back and watch the train wreck and say, "Boy, that was dumb." So
no, here actually like they care. So what happened? Like your neighbor, he's basically your second father or your second mother. So like all the neighbors, this is the statue that they have here. So like as an example, if I am a little girl and playing with other girls who are not that great, or like who are saying as an example some bad words, and one of the neighbor passed by and saw me playing with them, he might say, "Go to your home, or otherwise I'm gonna tell your parents about what you've been doing." So like they have this power on you. That's why like everybody is behaving, and we take like we look after our neighbors as our like I would say, as I said, second mothers and fathers. This is who they are.
you're smiling, so I am assuming that you think that's endearing and charming and that you like that
Yeah.
type of scenario. But I suspect some people
Hmm.
that grew up in those same neighborhoods that didn't really like having someone looking over their shoulder all the time, and maybe resisted that, maybe even left the country and went to Germany or something.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Germany's,
It's
I don't
not
know.
like that.
Germany's got its own cultural differences, but I'm curious, are there people in Morocco that just really don't like their neighbor looking out for them and are like, I got to get the heck out of this place?
It's about, I would say, how we grew up mentally the most. I'm not like taking the exceptions. Of course, there will be some exceptions. However, like our parents, the way how we grew up, this is what they are telling us. You need to respect the elders. You need to respect the neighbors. If there is something like that, this so it's wrong, that's probably because it's wrong. Come and tell us what happened as well. We want to hear your side of story. So it's like this. This is like how it's about. And while sometimes we resent it, however, like when we grow up, we appreciate it. I might not liking it when I was a little girl in as you
Yeah.
said. However, right now, the reason why I'm smiling is because this is what led me who I am today. Like the only reason why this happened is only for our goodwill, but not like for our like not for our bad will in that sense.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I got that. That's very cool. I'm just curious, is your brother older or younger?
he's younger.
He's younger. Okay. When did you first, what came first, tourism or food for you? I mean, I know food in a sense, but you know what I mean? I mean,
I
obviously
know.
you were eating food before you were starting thinking about running a tour business, but where did it start for you?
Yeah, I would say tourism comes first. But
Okay.
like, yeah, through tourism, the first time that I've started tourism, I've started it from a culinary perspective. As a local, I know my food. I never knew how travelers would appreciate what I'm doing. That was something tricky for me to understand at the beginning. I would say at the first 3 or 4 couple of tours. But the more I was leading, I was always finishing off with a little bit of feedback like with travelers as an example, let me know what did you like the most, like what should we change, something like that. And they were saying, oh, we love seeing the country through food, this is a different concept, while we were focusing on just like monuments, palaces, things like that, which is great. But right now we understand the country from the stories that it's coming from the food. So this is why I start appreciating this the most, and I'm trying to expand it as much as possible.
So what I heard you say was kind of your interest was more in tourism initially.
Mhm.
Was it one of those things of, okay, I know I want to do tourism, but I'm not really sure what type of tourism. Obviously, food's a big thing. You like food. You probably know a lot about food. Was food kind of an obvious choice, or did you, because it sounded like, you were polling your guests and they talked about other things and the food was what seemed to be the most important. I guess what I'm saying is when you decide, okay, I'm doing tourism, I'm going to focus on food, or was it, I'm doing tourism, I'm not sure what to focus on. And then over a short period of time, it just became like food seems to be the thing that resonates the best, both with my clients and with myself.
Like when I started my company, I've had a clear vision that it's going to be about food mainly because that's a passion that I grew up over the past like 12 years. However, the first time when I started in tourism, that was in 2013, that's like I started with another company. That's when I started sometimes like doing food tours and hearing travelers' feedback. But after COVID, when I decided to do something of my own, I was decisive. This is like my path. It's all going to be about food and concentration on the food. Of course, I have other travelers who are saying, besides food, we are interested in doing this, we are interested in doing that. And that doesn't like stop me from creating even sometimes unique experiences. Like one guest might say, I'm interested to have a private access to this as an example library that I've heard it has been closed for almost decades. And then
Mm-hmm.
I will go and investigate and do a research and see how can I make him even go and access it. So those are like the cool things on the side that I do as well. But the niche of the company is culinary, 100%.
Anybody that is listening, this is going to be on video as well. So if you're listening to this on a podcast player, a traditional audio podcast, you need to go over and see this on video as well, because the smile on your face, Siham, is just like you are so passionate about this. I'm just feel so pleasure and honored to be able to see your face on the screen, because you've got me excited. I'm like, and this happened the first time we had a conversation. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I don't know what she's talking about, but I gotta go, which is super cool.
Thank you.
But I really, though, I want to understand, because you said kind of the tourism started it and then the food, but then you said, but I was always into food. So I really like, when you were young, what's your first memory of either an interest in food, not just being hungry,
Yeah.
because we all have those memories. Well, some of us do anyway. Your first memory of, ooh, I think I really am interested in food, or your first memory in, ooh, I think I'm interested in tourism. Which one of those two memories is
Say food, 100%. Like,
okay?
if you
Let's
know
dig into that
Morocco,
then.
yeah, if you know Moroccans, like we are all foodies. This is who we are. Like we love our food. We're very particular about what we're eating. We take 4 meals during the day. That's how
Mm-hmm.
food is important for us.
Uh-huh.
Food like has always been a thing for me. Let me just clarify like the way how I try to explain it. I mean, as I said, like I am a local. I love my food and I love the stories that it told from my food. I just never like realized that the travelers will appreciate hearing the stories as much as I knew when I lived those tours. And I heard them like from them directly. Oh, this is like we love this. We love knowing this is what grows this passion more into me. Oh, okay, then like they appreciate what I'm doing. So that grows more confidence in what I'm doing and just like continuing into this path.
All right, very cool. So was your mom into cooking? Was that,
My mom,
do you
yeah,
have memories shared with her or grandparents or other people in your life? Tell us, I just want to hear more about the food connection.
absolutely. Like I would say everyone basically. My grandparents from my father's side, like they love food. Whenever we were going there and
Everybody in
celebrating,
Morocco, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
right?
of
Yeah.
course.
Silly
Whenever we were
question, isn't it?
yeah, and celebrating. The only thing, the only word that you will hear throughout the day is cool, cool, which means eat, eat. And you know how grandmothers love to stuff us. Like you need to eat. It's not like it's a choice. It's something that is obligatory. So like sometimes I might be taking a nap and I'll be waking up just to have something to eat because sometimes it's on the table. That's how food is like. That's how we express our love. Basically, it's through feeding people. Also, like my mother, like she used like to cook, and I loved her cooking. She's still doing the same thing. I mean, like her kitchen is her kingdom. Nobody is allowed to go inside. Even my
Mm.
brother. Like when my brother took over and went to Germany, like he starts cooking for himself, doing like new dishes. So the moment he come back, he's literally not allowed to go inside the kitchen, even if he wants something to cook for himself. It's my mom. That's all.
All right. So, so that poses a good question because based on what you
Yeah.
just said about like it's mom's kitchen, nobody's allowed in mom's kitchen. But did that mean you weren't able to go in there and cook with her?
I've actually learned by seeing, not by cooking. That's how
From
I've
like
learned.
standing outside the door, looking in, peeking into the kitchen and just watching her? Is that right?
That's actually right.
Is that
Meanwhile, other mothers, I would say they're engaging their daughters into the kitchen. My mother vision or viewing of me is that she wanted me to accomplish what she couldn't. So like she wanted me to finish my university degree. Why she couldn't do that? She wanted me to focus on my career because this was her dream. She's saying, I'm seeing my dreams like happening through you. And like if I need to support that through making food, like making you feel comfortable, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want you to accomplish the things that I couldn't. So like when I'm trying to learn, like I'm not allowed inside. So what I do, I try to see, I watch sometimes even YouTube. I watch my grandmother, like right now she passed away, but I used to watch her like how she cooks traditionally and all of that. And like when she is traveling, that's the time for me when I go into the kitchen and do my thing.
so? So what I'm envisioning is a, I don't know, Thursday evening at your house when you were a kid, and mom's in the kitchen cooking, and you're like, Mom, can I come in and see what you're doing? Can I come in and help? And she's like, No, you need to sit down and do your schoolwork.
Yeah.
You need to sit down and study. And I'm doing this because that was her way of making it easy for you to sit down and study, was she was going to take care of the food and all that stuff. And is that kind of what it was like?
Yeah, exactly. Like you are describing it like perfectly. I like whenever I have exams, it's more about like sitting and like I would say working out my exams. And she used to test me as well. Like I will give her like what my exam will be on the following day, and then she'll take over my workbook and then start asking me questions to see like how much I have knowledge to take that exam on the following day. That's how she was particular, and I'm very grateful for her. Not just me and my brother, because without her, like I would say, I wouldn't reach that far. There will be other things like stopping me on the way. She makes life easier for us. And also my dad, like he was the one who was saying, never worried about finances in terms of study. If you need a tutor, if you need this, like I'm gonna finance you. Just let me know. While we didn't even ask him for that. Like we wanted like to be responsible on our own studies and just work ourselves without like the need of asking him anything. But he will say like, don't ask me for other things. Ask me for things that are relevant, and that's like your school. So never be intimidated of asking me about that.
Okay. Someone is listening to this right now that grew up in a family maybe that sounds similar to yours, and they're having flashbacks thinking of the pressure that they faced as a child because mom did everything to make sure that I had time to study. Dad did everything to make sure that I had the resources to go to school once I got selected and accepted. And they're thinking, my gosh, the pressure was horrible and it's not what I wanted. And I did everything I did to make my parents happy. I'm not saying that you're thinking that. I'm not even going to ask you because, you've got family that might listen to this someday. But
Yeah.
I suspect that I suspect is that common in Morocco to have that kind of family situation where the parents work really, really hard so their kids can stay focused on school and studies? Or was your family a little different?
No, I would say my family was a little different. That's what I would say. Probably because the way how they grow up, it's different. Like they came from the countryside, both of them, both my mom and my dad. And my grandmother, who passed away, and I loved her like so much. The way, like, even though she was never outside home, she is the one who will stay inside home and look after her kids and all of that. She supported every kid of her to go and continue and pursue their studies. That's how she led them. Like, that's what actually enabled them to do the same with their kids. Like, coming from the countryside, it's a different life. That means that you need to look after the land, as an example. You need to look after us when we grow up, which actually all of my family did. However, it's not like sending your kids to other cities to study or even to other countries to study. So this is how my grandmother was seeing things. So she sent my father to Fes. That's where he studied, and that's where he got his degree and all of that. And that's where he was hired here in Fes. And my mother, like the grandmother of my mother, she actually sent her to Fes to study. She just studied until university first year, then she got married. And because she couldn't continue, like she set this goal that I need my daughter to take that like PA, like at university. Like I was about to start from university and taking my BA, and I wanted to do something different, like go abroad, continue my studies. And she didn't ever let me. She said, no, the BA is my dream, so you're getting that for me. And I got that for her.
No pressure.
No pressure. I didn't feel like I've never considering it as a pressure. Like I was like just thinking, my parents are still alive from a different perspective. Like they wanted something from me, and it's not something that I would say it's not gonna build my personality, or it's not gonna help me like to grow up, or it's gonna stop me from that. Like they didn't limit my choices or options, but they wanted me to accomplish a couple of things, which I did, and at the same time they haven't tied my freedom. Like I was like by the time that I was at university, I could have traveled on my own. While like traveling on my own as part of our family, like you need to travel with someone, like not
Hmm.
as a solo. This is like the concept here in Morocco. And they were supporting like every choice I was doing except of studies. That's the only thing. But I mean, like in terms of studies, it's for my good sake. And it was for my good sake. Look where I am today. So I am so grateful about what they've done like to me or for me.
Very, very cool. But you had some opportunities to travel overseas
Yeah.
at some point. So well, hang on. I'm not sure if I want to get there yet. So we talked a lot about kind of the food part, but honestly, I envisioned when we started talking about the food, I envisioned you telling stories of spending time in the kitchen with your grandmother and your mother and making these things together. But it wasn't that. And you're still so fascinated by food. So what do you think? Help me make the connection because I'm missing something, and I know you know the story. I don't. So help me make the connection between standing outside of the kitchen, looking in, trying to figure out what mom's doing, to I'm going to have a culinary tour business
Yeah.
around food. So help me figure that out.
Yeah. So like the joy of watching your mother or your grandmother doing something, it's something that is, I would say, just unbelievable in that sense. It doesn't mean like that I have to contribute to feel it. The feeling comes with sitting at the table, sharing the meal together, exchanging the stories between us. That's like where the pleasure comes. Like the pleasure is about like what the food holds in terms of memories from me. Doing it by hand doesn't change anything. Like whether I do it or not, it doesn't change anything. Like what is great about it, it's really just like being with my family, eating with my family, and I'm just grateful for all of these opportunities that we're still sharing the same table until today. And then we will be exchanging like random topics. Sometimes politics over food. Sometimes like we will be like talking about someone, as an example, in our family, or an incident that we feel sorry about, or something that we feel happy like to know. So all while we're eating, and while we're sharing these stories, all of this, like, it's fascinating. Like, this is what creates the food stories behind it. So the storytelling for me, like when I'm taking like people on culinary tours, It's about sharing with them, why do we eat this? How do we eat it? When do we eat it? What is the ritual behind it? From where it comes? So like I'm trying like to touch a lot of like things
Hmm.
while building my story around it. And also where I'm taking them like to another family to hold them for a culinary tour and like culinary experience such as a cooking class. It's more about knowing the family itself and how they are living their lives and how they are sharing food and who was helping inside the kitchen and who wasn't and whether men are helping or not, or what the men are doing as part of the day of their daily task. So like I'm answering all of these questions to the curiosity of travelers. So this is why I'm fascinated. I feel like I just don't feel. I trust that the food has a huge connection into the person, like personality. Through food, you can understand like the person, how they are viewing food, how they are eating, how they are loving it, and what does that food even represent. That's how you break that bridge of the culture and connect mostly like with the locals.
All right. Wow. Are you familiar with the five love languages?
Which one?
There's a concept, the five love languages. A guy named Robert Chapman, I'm not sure his first name, but he wrote a book about the five love languages, and it's how we feel love.
Yeah.
And usually that's also how we display love. So your mother's love language for you, just based on this conversation, I don't know, I could be way off, but it's acts of service is one of them. That's one of the ways that we show love and we feel love. So her being in the kitchen, making the food, taking care of that part of it for you so that you could go to school, study, whatever, that was her way of showing love to you. Probably, maybe, I don't know, if I were to guess, I'd say it's probably a way that you feel loved is by that. So you've got a strong connection to the culinary part right there because you probably feel loved when someone's making food for you. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. No, no, you're
I
right.
would. I would.
You're right.
And the other thing that's fascinating though is like in a almost a sense, I envision you kind of, I don't know if spectator is the right word, but sometimes tourists are, we want to go places and see things and experience things. We may not get in the kitchen and get our hands dirty, but we want to understand it. We want to watch it. We want to see it happen. We want to, and hear about it. We want to learn about it. So almost you as a young child, standing outside of the kitchen, watching mom in there doing this act of love and then bringing it to the table and you receiving it as an act of love. It kind of makes sense that you're doing this kind of work. I don't know.
Totally.
You've probably thought all this stuff out. It's just like my brain just catching on.
Jason. Actually, like totally. Like we express our love as a country, like through food. Like we're not a country as an example, like when we meet someone, we will express our emotion, I would say boldly in that sense. I'm not gonna meet someone and I say, oh, I miss you so much, I love you, and then hug them and all of that. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Like love is yeah, love is expressed like through food. So whenever like we have guests coming in, what we are putting on the table, that shows like how much we love them, how much we care about them. And I don't mean that we need to put fancy things or we need to make expensive things. It's all about like a food that is coming from our stories of childhood, or like a food that is like shared and that it's a heritage like signature dish of that place that we are preparing uniquely for these guests who are coming from another city and to taste it. Like I would say, oh, today because you come to Fes, I'm making you pastilla. Like pastilla, that means this is the signature dish of Fes. So for them, that's something fascinating. It's not eaten every day. So it's something that it was served because we love them. So instantly, like that guest or that local guest understands without the need of the words that they are loved and they are being valued. So that's what it means.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Never thought of this question before, but I heard you say it doesn't have to be expensive or fancy. And I started to visualize, okay, so maybe a good example is, I don't know, lobster dinner in the Northeast. So maybe if I've got a guest and I want to show off, I might buy a bunch of lobster and steak and lobster, and it's kind of expensive, but it's considered, good. Or there might be a dish that's much cheaper, but it takes 3 times as long to make it. So there might be a dish that's like this. I got to get up early in the morning, like Thanksgiving Thanksgiving dinner in the US would be maybe a good example of Thanksgiving is always so complicated. Nothing on the table is particularly expensive. It's turkey and stuffing and green beans and, the typical traditional American Thanksgiving dinner. But you got to get up, you got to get the turkey and you got to thaw the turkey for 3 days. And then you got to wake up at 6 a.m. and start working. And maybe everything's ready and on the table by 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's not a terribly expensive assortment of foods, but it's very, very time consuming. So I'm imagining maybe in Morocco, it's like, no, it doesn't have to be the expensive stuff, but I'm gonna make you something that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And it might just be handmade couscous or something, that's not super fancy, but there's a lot of time and effort put into it. Does that happen?
Yeah, it does happen. I mean, I would say each family has its way of doing things, so there are always exceptions, Jason, because I know that some Moroccans will be like watching your episode as well. So I want to include everyone into the picture. Like some are saying, like, let me do something expensive. While I mean, mostly like of us, the way how we think, it's about creating something that it's like unique. The other guest, like that's coming from another city, doesn't have the option to eat it except when it's made of our home, like a home cooked meal, not just like buying something and putting it on the table. That's also important and also time consuming indeed, Jason, because all of our food is slow cooked food, so it takes a while to prepare it. Pastilla, it's 6 hours, so it's not something that is prepared quickly. Couscous, normally our couscous is 3 hours because it's steamed for 3 times. It's not like instantly made couscous with hot water. So it's different here in
Not like the
Morocco.
stuff we buy at the grocery store in the US that
No, no,
says
it's not
couscous on the
nothing.
side of the box. It's not like that.
And also, like, there are women from the countryside, including from where I came, who make couscous from scratch, couscous rolling. So they're making their own couscous. They just don't buy it from stores. So, and also, like, when we're talking about tagine, same thing. It's not instant made tagine. It takes 3 hours or 2 hours and a half, depending on the meat that you are putting there. And we also always tend to make, like I would say, beautiful decoration while we're presenting the food to the guests. And here is how we make sure that the guests feel special. We put our lovely plates that we as kids are not allowed to eat as it's from home. They're only plates for the guests. That's it. And we have one unique plate that is peacock. And this peacock plate is actually passed on from one generation to another. As an example, my mother is saying, the moment when you have your own home, this is just as an example, in the future, I'm going to give you this plate. This is my heritage to you. So we have a plate that has the peacock sign, and it used to be like expensive by the time of my grandparents and my mother. So that's why it's still holding that unique or that special touch. So
Did
like
you
that was only served to the guests. It's not something that we're eating at it every day. Also, I would say the place where the guests are sitting, like once you go inside the family home, here is one thing. The place when you see a TV, that's where the family gathers. That's not for guests. That's only for us where to sit. We have another saloon mainly for guests. We as kids, and even for me right now as an adult, I'm not allowed to go inside the salon, even though I am allowed right now, but this is how I grew up. I don't go there because that's in my nature. That place is basically for guests where they're gonna sit, eat, and sleep. So that's how it is. It's always tidy, it's always fancy, and it's always clean because
Mhm.
we're always expecting guests to come.
I love that. A couple things. You mentioned the plate. I think I heard you say peacock, like the
Peacock,
bird
yeah. It has
with
a
all the big
peacock
bright
size.
feathers.
Yeah, like the bird.
Okay. So is that just a particular plate that your family has, or does like every family have a peacock plate?
Many families in Morocco, I'm not going to use all because I don't
Well,
know
yeah.
everything, yeah, but
Okay, but
many
it's
families in
all right.
Morocco have the peacock plate.
Where did that come from?
I think because it was fancy and expensive at that time. Right now it's not, but I mean it's because it was fancy and just unique, a new design for Morocco because we have tiles, we have different designs, but we don't have peacock as a bird into the plate. The moment families, yeah,
So the first time those became available, in
Yeah.
Morocco, everybody went and bought one.
Yeah.
And then it just became tradition to hand it down through the family.
And passed on even from one generation to another. That's like how it was. So it's something that it's culturally, I would say, unique or close to our families.
Now, is this the plate that you would maybe pile a bunch of couscous and tagine meat and stuff like that on this big plate and then serve it as kind of a, I don't know, a family style? You just put the plate out there and everybody eats from that plate, or what is that?
Yeah,
Is
like
that
you can serve whichever you want on it, basically, but mostly like for guests. Mostly, I would say for
right, I
guests.
got that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, however, as an example, like for couscous, like the way what it's recommended how to serve it, there is like a clay, like a plate that is similar to the tagine, but it's not because it doesn't have the lid. And we
Mm-hmm.
call it gata. That's the name of it. So this is where we typically serve our couscous. But if you want to even serve it in that peacock plate, you can do that because it's normally round and big, and it's also like I would say have some space underneath, so you can put your couscous in it. It's not like flat.
Did you ever? I was imagining maybe you are a young Moroccan girl or boy pretending that they're cooking and they get a hold of the peacock plate and they're, pretending to do a tea party or pretending
Never,
you
never
better
did.
not.
That's a game. No, no, no.
Do not touch the peacock plate is what
So,
I, right?
and plus the peacock plates were always like put at a higher like place in the cupboard, so
Uh-huh.
we cannot like reach it out.
So if your mom came around the corner and you're 7 years old sitting in the kitchen on the floor with the peacock plate,
I
making
am in
mud
trouble.
making
Yeah,
mud cookies and stacking them on the peacock plate, that's probably going to be the last time you do that, right?
yeah. Probably like not even have the chance to do that. That's
Yeah,
just
okay.
only like the last time to
Just
do that.
just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Did you pretend that you were cooking? I mean, a lot of kids do that when they're young. They kind of, make believe they even Barbie in the States, they had like the Barbie kitchen and the what was that little, like, it was like an oven. I wish I could remember this because my daughter wanted one so bad that we went and got her one, but it's like an oven that you put light bulbs in and you can actually make cookies in this little plastic oven. So I guess where I'm going with that is a lot of kids would pretend they were cooking. Did you do that when you were young?
Yeah, like luckily, like I grew up with two lovely girls, like in the same apartment
Mm-hmm.
where we used to live, and we were almost the same age. One was 1 year older than me, and one was like 4 years younger than me. So we were all like gathered in the apartment stairs
Mm-hmm.
and sit, put a blanket, and then we used to play all together, or sometimes in the roof terrace of the apartment. It
Mm-hmm.
will be like having dolls, and then like they are responsible of their home cooking. I'm serving you cookies with cheese. I'm serving you cookies with coffee. Oh, here is the dish that I've prepared today. What did you prepare today? What are you bringing today? So these games we used to play them, all of them.
All right. I remembered it's called the Easy Bake Oven. Did you have one of those? Do you remember that?
That's not the
Never
thing
heard
that
of that? No,
no.
not okay. Anyway, did you feel like you had to hide that type of play from your mom if she saw you playing with the other girls that you were cooking? Did you feel like, ooh, mom's not going to like that? I'm just curious.
No, no. Because like at that time I knew that I was like just playing with the girls. So
Hmm.
like my mom, she's not against me like learning to cook. It's not the case. It's more about wanting me to focus on my studies the most. That's like
Yeah.
her own objective. Maybe if she was saying, if you go near to the kitchen, then this is what's gonna happen to you. You're not allowed to cook or things like that. I'll be scared, but she always like make sure to explain to me that the reason why she's doing that, she's doing it for a good reason, just like for me to focus on my studies. That's all.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Have at any point you worked in a kitchen or a restaurant or had any desire to?
Well, I mean, all my work is in food right now.
Well, I knew you were going to say that. I get that. But you know what I'm asking you.
I
Have
know.
you not I know you've worked in restaurants with your clients as you're showing them and sitting down with them and explaining what's going on. I get that. But as far as food production,
Yeah,
making food
yeah.
for a living.
The first job that I've ever done was Peace Corps. That's the first job.
Interesting.
My
Okay.
first job was like teaching Americans or like making Americans have access to my country. We all went. This was my first time doing this, so that was my bold move. Like right after university, I signed up for Peace Corps. Then actually, like it took me a while to be accepted because everything was new for me. I went to another city. I started to become responsible of myself. There is no mother or father with me, and they allow me to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was almost 2 months of training and then going through exams in order to be eligible to become language and culture facilitator with them. And as I have passed, like actually, luckily I have passed and I took this step. I took 5 Americans to a village. It's close to Fes, but it's 2 hours drive from here. So like I took them to a village. I lived with a family of my own for 3 months, and they lived with different families. So each one lived with another family. And I was teaching them every day except Sunday from 8 until 6 p.m., 8 to 12, 2 to 6 p.m. And it was all about our rituals, language that we're using, academic language, and also like what you should ask in terms of food, in terms of like how to make grocery. There was only a market once a week, so I took them the first time there to understand how the weekly market happens and what they need to consider. And from there, they were starting to take in that ride on their own. So it was 3 months that I finished, and then when I was back, I started in tourism. And actually in tourism, I've done like different things with the past company. I worked as a waiter, actually.
Okay.
I've hosted Roman picnics at Bolivares. So I was explaining to them about the Romans and the food and all of that. And I learned how like to wipe even glasses, make them look shiny, where the knife needs to be, where the fork, where the glass needs to be put. All of this etiquette that it was new for me, but I was excited. The more I was doing this, it wasn't a challenge for me. It was an excitement that this is like access to what I wanted to do basically. And this is how I start like doing it. When my mom, sometimes I'm bringing guests even to my family home to meet her, and I start talking about food. And when my mom is listening to me because she got some English, she come and say to me, "Oh my God, like you speak like a chef. Like if people hear you, they will think that you are excellent in cooking, but you don't even go near to the kitchen." And I said to her, "Thanks to you, mom." So we're always joking in front of travelers, and I explain to them what's going on, and this is what my mom, and this is her vision. So all of this story, they got it like through, like as well.
Very, very cool. I think we need to, if you don't mind, I'd like to go back and explore the Peace Corps thing a little bit. I'm going to share with you
Yeah,
what I think I heard was that you finished school, you wanted to work for the Peace Corps, you went through a process, you got accepted to work for the Peace Corps.
yeah,
And the role that you had, it sounds like your job was to make sure that other Peace Corps people that came from other countries into Morocco were able to do their jobs, whatever their jobs were effectively. So your job was to kind of help integrate them into the community and help them figure out how they could help the people in the community. So you were like a liaison in a sense, right? Which is interesting because it never occurred to me that that makes perfect sense. I've always heard of peace, you join the Peace Corps, you go to another country. You joined the Peace Corps and worked in your country
yeah.
to
I've
help
worked in
other.
my country. So
That's
normally,
cool.
like all the Peace Corps volunteers who came to Morocco are from the USA. So they are all from the USA. And like the reason why like I was responsible for them for these 3 months is like to enable them to live in the country for the next 2 years and knowing what the country is about. What is our culture? What is our words? How to communicate? What is the etiquette? How to understand the differences between Morocco as a country and the USA as a country, because that's important. Sometimes what are the words that are for you are okay to say, but here they mean something different.
It, it sounds like an amazing it sounds like an amazing job to help prepare you for the tourism business. But
At that stage,
you
I
mentioned the
wasn't
word
even like being like considering tourism. So it was just like teaching because everyone like who knew me, including my neighbors, including my family, since I was like I would say 4 or 5 years old, they were saying, "Oh, Siham, like you are a teacher." They were calling me Teacher Siham. So everyone was preparing me mentally to become a teacher.
Mhm.
And here I am, like I went to a completely different like path that it has nothing to do with their expectation or the expectation of the community.
Well, what did you get your degree in? I don't think you mentioned that.
I had BA in like university in English, and I specialize in linguistics.
In linguistics. Okay. So you mentioned teaching. Oftentimes on this show, I've had conversations with tour guides, tour operators, just tourism professionals. They say, look, if you were going to hire someone that had no tourism experience, but let's say you needed some new guides, or trip leaders, and you had to hire somebody who's never worked in tourism, what industry would you go to? Would you look for, would you go to look for people that you could bring them into tourism with the least amount of training and have them up and ready to go? I don't know if I'm being clear on that, but what keeps coming up is teachers and bartenders. Teachers and bartenders. If I had to create a guide staff, and I would go look for teachers and bartenders, because both of them are just good at taking care of people and leading a small group and keeping everybody kind of engaged and interested and moving towards the same goals. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would agree with this. Also, like I would normally the way how I'm seeing someone like to bring them new to my company and work with them. It's always people like who are passionate about taking English as a language because they like it, they love it. That's the first thing. And also the second thing, it's because they have zero expertise in tourism. That's the second thing. I don't mind like training someone from scratch. I love that. And I've trained so many people, in fact along my journey. I would say tens and tens. That's like the kind of the amount of people who I've like trained. And I've realized the ones who are coming with degree in tourism, they're always thinking that they know the best, while actually like they don't know, but there are other things in their like personality that needs more working on. Like if someone come in with a bright personality and they have English, they can manage tourism brilliantly. But when
Mm-hmm.
people think they have that ego that we know, that means that that ego will stop them on the way. Because this is an industry that's changing every single day. We're talking today, and here is the AI happening. We're gonna talk tomorrow, and here is another thing that's gonna come. So, like, you always need to have that open perspective that this is a changing domain, and you need to be adaptable to it and like accepting it. It's okay to have like this new thing. While I mean, for people who were coming with tourism degree, like they were like always, oh yeah, but this is this way. Yeah, this is this way. I agree, but there is always exception because we're not working into a world that is gonna say 1 plus 1 equal 2. Sometimes 1 plus 1 could equal 10. Because if
Yeah.
I'm gonna add a zero, who knows? Like that's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I think like best case scenario is maybe you find somebody who, I'm going to say bartender again. I don't know why. I had a
Yeah, no,
conversation
no, I
recently
love
with
that. I mean,
a
we don't have
bartender.
like a lot of bartenders. That's why, like, I'm not putting that. I'm not like resonating with this picture the most. But I'm gonna say when you're saying teacher, that resonates with me a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, I get that. Like, it's someone who serves people who like listen to what they want and also accept them like during like when they are grumpy or things like that. So maybe that's why you're using like bartender.
Yeah. And maybe it's kind of the stereotype is like a good bartender can be really busy with a lot of different things going on. And yet every single person that walks up to him needs to feel seen, sometimes heard, respected. But at the same time, when someone goes too far, that bartender needs to step in and kind of redirect and maybe even cut them off, ask them to leave, whatever, but all in a way that everybody in the room feels seen and heard, which
I
is
love that.
pretty much the way you would describe a
Yeah,
good tour
I love
guide,
that.
right?
Exactly.
So if you could take a good bartender who's tending bar to pay his way through tourism school,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he's got 4 years of tending bar and juggling his schoolwork and gets a degree in tourism, and he was a bartender or a teacher. I mean, either way, that's going to be a lot better than maybe someone with a master's degree in international tourism that, frankly, if you pay tuition and you go to class and you pass your tests, you can get a degree.
Yeah.
And anything doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the best tour guide or tour operator or, whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, opportunities need to be equal. And, like, it doesn't mean that someone, like, if someone came and then say to me, hey, like, as an example, I have this degree in tourism and then not have a great personality. That's not good for my business. That's not even good for me because I'm not going to be able to manage my business the way how I want to. And if someone came to me with zero expertise but just great personality, I'll be encouraged to invest my time, my energy, and everything into that person. Why? Because he is like open to everything, and I might like I will. I'm not. I just might. I will learn a lot of things because sometimes like people come in with this creative idea. Why not doing this instead of doing that? So that's actually like great. And the same thing, if someone came to me like with, as an example, a degree in tourism and a bright personality, why not? Like both are standing equal. What I'm trying to share is that like we never say that we know everything. That's one of the things. Like the world of tourism is changing massively. And also like great personalities always shine into this tourism industry because we are people to people, not
Yeah.
people like to computer or people to phone or like people to statistics. We are truly like people to people. This is like the domain.
If one of your nieces or nephews
Yeah.
came to you and says, I want to do what you're doing, I want to get involved in tourism, and they're considering going to school to get a degree in tourism. They've never worked in tourism. They're
Mhm.
finishing high school. They've never had a job. And they're like, on Siham, I want to go to school for tourism for the next 4 years so I can get a degree and work in tourism like you do.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them? Is there anything immediately that pops into your head as what you would suggest they do first before they start school, before they pay their tuition?
Nothing's come to my mind. I'm just gonna say, don't be afraid, do it. That's all what I'm gonna
Okay.
say. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Very
yeah,
cool.
for it. That like I will encourage it. That's what I'm gonna say. But in terms like of giving particular advice, it will depend on the ride while they are taking that like school. Maybe if they come to me with a challenge that they face, that's where I'm gonna like offer like advice and guidance if I know what to.
What if, what if, what if, what if their personality's not that great?
But then like I'm gonna be honest with them. Like that's what I'm gonna be. Like
Okay. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like it's like I, I'm actually like I've had so many friends and so many like neighbors and my community is huge.
Remember, some of them might listen to this before you go any further.
And like when they come to me and just ask for my guidance, I'm always saying like what are you thinking this job will entail? That's the first thing. Like it will entail this. Will do you feel capable of doing that? So like just few questions. I might not come direct to them and say no, you're not good enough for that because who knows they might be great at that. It's not my call, but it's more about like asking them questions for them to think deeper about their choice from the beginning. And I just had a situation with one of my neighbors, and she actually like she's right now 21, 20 years old. She got like her university degree and she wanted to go into pharmacy. Everyone was opposing her. And not pharmacy, sorry, she wants to be a nurse. Everyone was opposing her and saying no, why you're doing it and all of that. And then she just came and sit with me and I said, why do you want to do it? And she said, look, I want to really like assist people. I want to become a nurse because I want to assist people. I feel that this is a noble job and I want to do something noble as part of my career. I told her it's going to be in French. Are you ready to continue like your studies in French? She said, I don't mind. Even though I will have classes, this is how committed. Then I took her to a private school and we asked about the intuition fees, all of that. And then I spoke with her parents, and she got admitted. And right now she is on her third year. And guess what? She
Nice.
is loving it because this is who she is. Maybe if she comes to me and says tourism, I'm going to say, what you're going to do with the language? You need to know English as an example. You need to do this. Like this is, you need to be working. It's 24 hours job. Like it's these questions. Like you need to stay alert. Sometimes a traveler might like talk to you at 3 a.m. and your phone needs to be on and you need to be ready. What an emergency happened? How would you handle it? Like these are the questions that someone needs to ask themselves because putting themselves into this ride. Are you ready for all of this? If they are, why not?
I think that's really, really good advice and or a good way to approach it because a lot of young people may think of, oh, work in tourism. I mean, honestly, it's kind of that Instagram thing, right? They're seeing travelers do awesome stuff, influencers, and sometimes influencers will come on and say, "Oh, I work in the travel business," and whatever. So that's kind of all you see. You don't see those late night calls or Friday night when you're out with your spouse for dinner and you've got a babysitter taking care of the kids, and then you get the call from a client that's in an airport halfway around the world saying, our driver's not here,
Yeah, my
or
flight
whatever.
wasn't
And of
paid.
course, yeah,
Yeah,
or
a lot of things. Yeah,
whatever stuff comes up, or even leading trips, and you're with them from before sun up to way past sundown. And I was gonna suggest if someone came to me and said, I'm thinking about doing this, I'd say, well, before you pay for 4 years of college
yeah.
to work in tourism, you really ought to try and find a job as an apprentice guide or a guide assistant, or live aboard on like a live aboard staff member on one of the small ships or something. Just go do something and decide if you still like people
Yeah.
after your 3 month summer with tourists, and decide, do I still like people? And
No, no,
if
no,
you
it's not
do,
that.
then
Because
maybe
it's
it's
not
right.
like what I'm doing. Is this really how I see myself? I mean, like the moment I started into this, like I knew like it has been not a challenge in that sense, but it has something different, like for a woman, like I would say, like point of view, because sometimes I had this late night working until 12 a.m. Like midnight and I'm still in the office working, and sometimes I get my brother coming and picking me up right from the office because going outside at night and taking a taxi and the streets are empty. Even my family like were intimidated that they said for your safety we're like your brother is gonna come and pick you up. So
Mm-hmm.
like and it's still like this is a job that I choose for passion, for love. It's not like for its difficulties or challenges. And I'm still doing it with the same level of love and passion. It's nothing will ever change because it has been 12 years already. So you can imagine, like holding this passion all of these years, that literally means something. I'm doing something that I'm loving. But for someone else, like experience it before taking that step, just experience it and know where you are putting your feet. Because a lot of like women will say like we would like to get married and have our boundaries. I sacrificed marriage already. I didn't take marriage as my goal in life because if I was married, I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing. Especially that we're talking about different cultures, like like in Europe, USA, or other countries, men do support their women in like tourism, and they accept like that. Sometimes you get this late night calls from male guys, all of that. Here, nobody like will understand or observe that. So I just decided that like I'm not gonna change my culture like immediately or instantly. I know that. So for me, best like for my sake, not to even think about marriage. Because even someone who will say, yeah, it's okay, I can accept that, but his family won't. And I know that in our country, we marry the family more than the man himself. That's how the marriage like works.
I want to be careful saying this because I don't want to say anything that suggests or implies that I think you should change your mind, because I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, if you meet a guy that, or a potential partner, guy, woman, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care. But they also work in tourism and they're also as passionate about it, as excited about it as you are. Would that change things?
Not the same. Trust me, it's not the same because I'm seeing like two guys, male and a woman who got married, and then the woman always needs to sacrifice part of her job because she's viewing as the someone who needs to look after the kids, as she needs to look after the house, as she needs to be available. That's why I can like my time is not my time, 100%.
Well, okay. What if you remove kids from the equation though?
Like you need to be responsible of the home. As I said, you're marrying the family. So whenever the family are saying we're gonna come for a visit, then you need to give them their time and not be on the phone, be on the desk, answering emails, answering phone calls. So that's
All
what you
right.
need to do.
Do you,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, you're destroying some of my illusions here because I'm I'm single. I wasn't single forever, but been single the last few years, and I keep telling myself that if I can just meet somebody that works in the tourism space, that understands it, that gets it, and likes to travel, likes to have experiences as much as I do, then everything will work just fine. But you're making it sound like it's just not possible
No,
to
no,
get
no.
two
Like
people.
what I'm making it saying is it's from our cultural like perspective here in Morocco. Like abroad, like I'm gonna say this again, like abroad, like you have that understanding and that support. I'm not gonna say everyone, but I mean mostly like men support a woman and women support a man's job. Here, like we
Got it.
have family marrying the wife, not just the man marrying like the wife. So this is what we have. So the woman needs to dedicate her time. It's not just like, oh, I'm not here. I'm traveling like with my husband in this place all over the world. I'm taking phone calls. I'm doing this. Like that freedom or that luxury of freedom that it needs to happen for a woman as part of her career and to be accepted is not 100% accepted. Not just
All
by
right.
the man, it's by the family mostly. And
So
even
you
the
need
man first will be okay with that here like later on because he's gonna hear to his family, he's not gonna be okay because we are affected the most from our approach or loved ones. So
uh-huh.
our family affects us somehow. That's what happens.
So I just heard you say it might need to be an expat, somebody that did not grow up in Morocco, doesn't have family in Morocco, but wants to spend a lot of time in Morocco. Then maybe you'd consider going on a date with him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would say. And also like for me because like I'm a Muslim, also I need like to mention that I'm allowed only to marry like a Muslim man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So
Like
as you were saying, you put that
Muslim
aside
men.
so you can focus on your career.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if I've met someone who is like all of this, Muslim man, passionate about tourism, passionate about this, and like understanding how the tourism industry works, why not? But here in Morocco, I have give up this thought years ago, so I'm not even like trying or contributed or looking.
Your list for a partner sounds just about as complicated as my list for a partner.
I see.
A woman that doesn't mind that I'm basically a homeless backpacker. When I
Yeah,
tell people I'm a digital nomad, sometimes
yeah.
I've heard, so you're basically homeless, a homeless backpacker, right? And I'm like, well, I don't like to say it that way, but yeah. So anyway, that's okay with being a homeless backpacker. No house, no car. Everything I own is in my suitcase. She has to be willing to ride on buses and sleep in Airbnbs pretty much full time year round. Yeah, it's a tough list. Anyway.
Not the top list. You will meet like the woman who understand all of this.
Yeah. So anyway, we've had a lot of fun. We've discussed a lot of topics. I know we could keep going forever. So maybe we need to come back and have some more conversations. But in the meantime, I'm curious, Siham, what did I forget to ask you? What do you wish I'd asked you? Or what do you just generally want our listeners to know about you, Morocco, Moroccan food, culture, travel, life as a woman tour operator, anything like that? What would you like our listeners to know before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would say like Jason, we really went deeper into conversation and touching base on many great aspects. I feel today that I've shared more about me, which is great. Like so
Mm-hmm.
people will understand like what is the role of a woman, how I grew up, what does food means to me, like what was my career until I got here today. So all of these are important to share, and I feel this is the first time that I was uh, I would say, had the opportunity to go that deep in a podcast, which is
Awesome.
great. So thank you, Jason, for that. In like Though there is nothing much left to say, really. I would say just come to Morocco and be part of it and enjoy it to the fullest. That's all.
I love it. Well said. And the truth is, you're much more interesting than your list of tours that you do. I'm sure your tours are fascinating. I'm sure that the things that your clients experience are great. I'm sure that you've got amazing reviews and all these things, but you're at the source or at the heart of your business. So anybody that's listening to this, if they feel a connection with you, and I can't imagine that they don't, it feels like that'd be impossible. But if they feel a connection with you, they will go read itineraries. They'll click on the link in the show notes. They'll go to your website. If they have a desire to go to Morocco, I can't imagine at this point in the conversation that they're going to reach out to you before they do anybody else. I mean, obviously they're going to have a good time with you. So I appreciate you going so deep into all that stuff. We didn't spend time talking about, well, how do you get there? What are the entry requirements? Do you need a visa? How long can you stay? What's the weather like? And all that stuff that you probably have a lot of those questions, in a frequently asked question thing on your website. We don't need to go into that. We went into what's important. That's you, your story, and thank you for sharing it with me and our listeners.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you also. Truly appreciate it.
We'll do it again real soon. Thank you so much. How do you say goodbye? What's the appropriate thing to say in Morocco when you're finishing a conversation like we just said?
We say مع السلامة or بسلامة. بسلامة.
Slama?
بسلامة. V at first. بسلامة.
Baslama. Baslama. Baslama, Siham. All right. Thank you so much. We'll chat with you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I trust you enjoyed listening to the conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it. If you're enjoying the Big World Made Small podcast, please take a moment to tell the algorithm by subscribing and posting a review so that others can benefit as well. I also invite you to take a quick trip over to bigworldmadesmall.com and join our private adventure travel community to receive new episode notifications, special access to our guest experts, and perhaps even some exclusive partner offers that we haven't discussed on the podcast. I'll publish another episode soon. Until then, keep exploring. It's the best way to make a big world feel just a bit smaller.